Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a quick video on something that seems very simple but actually comes up a lot and I think could be helpful for a variety of people. And that is just simple music vocabulary, like general terms that get thrown around a lot that are easy to confuse. So I wanted to just go quickly through some of the main ones and just set them straight so that you never have to wonder what those things mean ever again. If you enjoy my channel, go ahead and subscribe so you never miss a video from me. And if you love this particular topic, give this video a thumbs up. Okay, so let's get started. So the first one is rhythm. So that's a really common one, and sometimes it's hard to explain. Like, we all know what rhythm is, but how do you explain it per se? Well, rhythm has to do with the duration of a note. So that means how long are you holding it? How long is it being played for? So rhythm equals duration. Now the next one, which is sometimes confused with rhythm, is tempo. And tempo has to do with the speed that you play at. So not necessarily how long you hold a note, but how fast you play an entire piece. So just the general speed. Now, tempo can be marked in two different ways. There are more expressive tempo markings, for instance, andante, vivo, something like this, where you have a word that's giving you an approximate speed at which to play, but it also tells you a little bit about the expressive character of the piece or how you should be approaching it in general. So that's the first type of tempo marking. And the other one is very specific. It's a numeric value, and it's going to be accompanied by some sort of note value. For instance, quarter note equals 100, which means that the composer wants you to play basically at that exact speed. They don't want you guessing on a range of speeds. They just really want it to be at that specific speed. So that's tempo. Only has to do with speed, but there are two different ways to see it in a score. The next one is dynamics. So dynamics have to do with volume. Whether you're playing soft, medium soft, loud, extremely loud, dynamic markings have to do with how loud or soft you should be playing. But they're not going to be put in the score like play loud or play soft. So these are exclusively marked by abbreviations in Italian. So for instance, if you want to play quietly, it would be marked with a P for piano. If it's medium soft, it would be MP, which means mezzo piano. Medium loud is mezzo forte, and loud is forte. And then there are more extreme sides on the loud and soft, but those are just the four most basic ones that you would see in the score. So remember, dynamics equals volume. The next one is time signature and meter. Now, those terms can be used interchangeably. They essentially mean the same thing. And a time signature, or a meter, is found at the beginning of a piece, and it looks like a fraction, like a numeric fraction, two numbers stacked on top of each other. And this is a little bit confusing one, but it tells you two bits of information. The top number tells you how many beats are going to be inside each individual measure. And the bottom number is a little bit symbolic. It tells you what type of note gets the main beat in that piece. So what type of note is equal to one beat in general. Speaking of measures, the next one I want to discuss is to compare two terms, measure versus line. This one seems to get confused a lot. So measure is the one boxed unit. When I'm trying to explain this to my students for the first time, I like to say it's like walls. So everything fits inside the walls, it creates one room. And the house has multiple rooms, a piece has multiple measures, but inside each box is like one unit. And then a line, for instance, the first line of music could have 4 measures inside of it. And each measure truly looks like a box. So it has the staff on the top and bottom, and then 2 measure lines or bar lines to sort of stick it all together. So that is the difference between measure and line. The next one is melody. So this is getting a little bit more ambiguous or subjective in some sense, but generally melody has to do with horizontal figures. That is, one note at a time and moving in a what we might call a linear fashion. So it's moving from left to right, one note at a time, and it creates a sort of cohesive line that we call the melody. So melody, think horizontal and singular notes at one at a time. Now, on the flip side of that, another term we hear frequently is harmony. So harmony, we have to think, instead of horizontally, vertically. So this means where notes are lining up, that they're happening at the same time so that they create harmony, which means more than one note, more than one voice happening at the same time. And this, in my opinion, is sometimes what makes music so beautiful. So the lining up of different sounds, different colors, different dynamics even, so that you get a really rich and lush sound. And that's sometimes what makes music so beautiful. But truly, it's the combination of the two, melody and harmony, that make us love music so much. So those are the difference between melody and harmony. The last one is register. So register is not exclusive to the piano. This term could be used for any instrument, and it has to do with where you are in relation to high or low pitch. So for instance, someone might say, that song is in a low register, or this phrase is in a really high register for this instrument. And on the piano, that's very graphically easy to see, because on the left side of the piano is the lower register. The more to the left you go, the deeper register you get. And to the right, as you go up, the higher the register. Now that's a little bit harder to envision on some instruments, but the idea stays the same. As the pitch gets higher, more shrill, then you're in a higher register. And as it gets lower, deeper, then you're in a deeper register. So that really has to do with, it could be just viewing wise, the geography of the keyboard, where the notes are, what register you're playing in, but it also has to do with your ear hearing what register I'm in. Am I in a high register, playing a lot of high notes, or do you hear a lot of low, deep sounds, wherein you would be in a low register? So hopefully that makes sense. That is the last one. So I hope all of those were helpful. If there were any that I left out, please comment them below and I'll be happy to clarify them if anyone has questions. And if you enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you never miss another piano tip from me. See you in the next one, guys. Bye.